Evo is upon us, Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, August 2nd to August 4th. The Super Bowl of the fighting game community. And here to break it all down is Jacob Wolf right beside me and Emily Rand in Los Angeles. And oh boy, we have a lot to talk about. The first thing I should mention though is if you tuned into this video for some Smash analysis, we have another one for you. A full Smash Ultimate and Melee breakdown for you with BAM already up at youtube.com/ESPN Esports. For the rest of us, let's break down everything else that is happening at Evo. Let's start with this, however. Over in his article at ESPN.com/esports, Tim Lees called Evo the best event to watch. Big words for a big tournament. Jacob, why is that the case?
I mean, EVO is my favorite event of the year every single year, and this is someone that loves the League of Legends World Championships and geeks out over that every year. But EVO, there's a little bit of something for everybody, right? It's 9 different games. It's a bunch of different types of games, right? They're not all like one specific genre of fighting game. So you can get into it no matter who you are or where you're from, and it's a huge spectacle. It means a lot to every single game, whether they have a circuit or whether they don't, in the case of Smash. And so, yeah, I think it's incredibly enjoyable. The characters in fighting games, because they have a very diverse set of people in fighting games. I think the characters of the people that are playing are really, really interesting. So I think the storylines are fun, the games are fun, and there's a little bit of flavor for you no matter who you are.
Speaking of diversity, have you seen the amount of announcers at Evo? 60. Incredible. I absolutely love it. So shout out to D1, Vicky Kitty, Sin Pi, James Chen. All of them have a great tournament. Let's talk about Tekken, Emily, because it didn't have the best year last year. A lot of familiar faces weren't there, but this year, a lot different. What can we expect from Tekken, and who are some of your favorites going into the tournament?
So I think the big thing about Tekken to remember is that last year, I believe it was not on the circuit, which is why a lot of people, a lot of the larger names that you could think of kind of skipped it at Evo specifically, just because it wasn't part of the larger world tour. Anyone who has watched a fighting game segment with me that's mentioned Tekken knows that I actually really love Knee. I think he's just such a dynamic player to watch, and he's one of the reasons why, despite admittedly not knowing as much about the game from an analytical perspective, he's always just insanely fun to watch play. He is definitely my favorite going into this tournament, and I don't think that should come as a huge surprise, especially since it's kind of shaking down to the top Japanese players and then Knee and some of the other top South Korean players.
Yeah, definitely some interesting characters to watch. Of course, Sonic Fox has to be on that list. You interviewed him at Evo last year after he won Dragon Ball FighterZ. He's been grinding that Mortal Kombat 11. Yep. So what can we expect from Sonic Fox this year, Jacob?
He's never in a tournament where he's not one of the people to watch. I do think that this Mortal Kombat tournament may be a little bit more interesting than others. The last time Mortal Kombat was at Evo, if I'm not mistaken, that was the year that Tekken Master took him to a ton of games. That was super exciting. He threw off the Fox hat. I remember it was a sort of a big pivotal moment in the Evo stratosphere. I think this will be a really difficult Evo for him. Not saying that he's not the favorite. I think he is one of them. But I do think that there's a lot of good challengers right now in Mortal Kombat. It's a brand new game. People are still trying to figure it all out. And so I'm super excited for Mortal Kombat and all the different people that will show up, some familiar faces and some new ones that will be challenging people like Sonic Fox.
And a lot of people are super excited about Street Fighter V. Prominent spot. As always, Street Fighter has always been the lifeblood of Evo, going back many years. The scene is very healthy, and we have a blend of old and new at this tournament. So, Emily, who's going to win the tournament, and why is it Daigo? Yes!
It's not Daigo.
What?
I like Daigo. So I like Daigo a lot. We had a little discussion. I know Jacob has capital O opinions on Daigo that he's going to get to in a minute. I actually think going into it, it's a pretty wide open field. I would say Punk is probably favored to take it, in my opinion, just because I think he kind of stands head and shoulders above the rest of the field. But again, this is a pretty open. You have Fujimura and Fudo and a lot of other larger names also contending for that top spot. So I won't be surprised if Punk doesn't win, but going into it, I'd say that he is my favorite right now. And now for Jacob for his Daigo opinions.
So Daigo is the Vince Carter of Street Fighter.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? If there was a Hall of Fame, he would be in it without question. But I do think, and look, I've spent some time with the guy before at Evos. He's super nice. And so this is not an attack on his character, but I do think that the media, and we've done this before too. I think the media kind of hype him up a little bit too much for what he is. He is a legend of these games, of multiple different fighting games. He's done a lot of great things for the scene. He wrote a book that a lot of people read and enjoyed once upon a time. But it's been a while since I've seen him competitive at Street Fighter in particular. So yeah, I mean, he's fun to watch. He's a personality that makes Street Fighter really fun and make fighting games really fun. But I don't expect him to be any favorite at all, nor to win this tournament.
Listen, his first Street Fighter tournament victory was in 1998. I get it.
He's a legend. He's a legend. I'm not going to argue that.
He is a legend. He is beloved. Vince Carter is a pretty good analogy in terms of Street Fighter. But you're telling me that there is not one small part of you that thinks that we could see a legendary run one more time from the GOAT himself. This is absolutely not going to happen. You can't see this, him raising the trophy, adulation everywhere. Daigo is king again.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if all the Street Fighter players do a lot of gambling and drinking on Thursday and Friday nights, maybe.
I don't like this. I don't like where this is going.
I think it'd be a really cool narrative. I don't think it's going to happen either. Like I said, I think Punk's going to win. But I think it'd be a really cool narrative.
Can we talk about Punk for just a second,
Please.
by the way? Like, he's had a lot of chances, right? We believed in this guy forever, and then it became Tokido, and then it became Problem X, and now it's him. And we believed in him for like 2 years now. He was in this era of these new players, him and Smug and all of these others who are really, really great at Street Fighter and really all had a shot and had won other tournaments and had these cool streaks and everything. But come on, Punk, show the hell up. I'm like, this.
Wow,
I'm really
you're calling him out.
I mean, like,
Jacob,
come on.
you're mad today.
Come on. No, like, we believed in this guy for so many years in Street Fighter, and he's not showed up at EVO. And he's even in, like, when he's gotten into playoffs.
Why do you think that
or
is?
In the bracket, right? Like, he's fallen out. I don't know. Maybe it's nerves. He doesn't strike me as somebody who's super nervous. When I first met him, he was his first couple of tournaments when he started going the hot streak, and he was nervous. But every time I saw him for tournament after tournament, it seemed like it got a little bit easier for him, and that he was more at peace with it. But he's been doing this long enough now. He has a good support team. Come on.
So this is it. If you feel like he has a bad Evo this year, you're going to give up hope on him?
That's a little strong.
Okay.
I still think he's probably one of the best players in the game. However, this is his
It's
to win.
about
Come
time
on.
for him to
Yes.
take that next step,
Yes.
is what you're saying.
Yes. It's been 3 years, and we've all been looking at him going, like, win this thing. This is the one he's got to do it.
Speaking of...
So like that meme poking him with a stick. Like, win.
And
Win,
speaking of memes,
Evo.
if he doesn't win this year, you're going to be like Homer Simpson going through the bushes on his, just like that, exactly. Let's talk other titles. I mean, Samurai Showdown is on the list on the main stage, which I think is very interesting, Emily, because the game's only been out a couple months, and you got to wonder what the reaction's going to be, right? We're still in that phase where people are figuring out their mains and their best characters, and the gameplay will be hit or miss in terms of the overall audience of EVO. How do you think a game like Samurai Showdown will perform when we look back on EVO 2019?
It's a really fun, game to watch. I do not, again, from an analytical perspective, I could not tell you, matchups or anything like that. But it looks highly technical, and it's also just very visually fun. So I'm really looking forward to watching it and learning more about it.
I'm excited for this EVO because there are a lot of new games here, and that being one of them. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's its first EVO. Mortal Kombat 11, it's its first EVO. This is a really exciting time to see some new games play out on a stage as large as EVO, and even games that have been around for a little bit. Tekken. Tekken's been on this sort of ascendant rise the last couple of months. I'm really happy to sort of see where that's going because it's a breath of fresh air compared to Street Fighter and related titles or Marvel or Smash, which have sort of been the dominant fighting games if we want to look at from a numbers perspective. Historically, those have been the ones. And so Tekken being on this ascendant rise of interest is super exciting, but also there's a bunch of new game titles, and that makes for a happy EVO. I'm very excited for this weekend.
So speaking of Smash...
Next year, a kill game. That's
that?
what I'm watching for next
year. Okay. You're already making
Mark
predictions
it,
for
write
2020.
it down right now when
Got
we do
it.
this next year.
I like this. Already 2020 predictions. for Evo. We haven't even gotten to 2019 yet. I love it. This is the way too early 2020 Evo predictions video.
Kill
by
and
the way.
kill.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly. Speaking of videos, by the way, we did a full Smash preview with Bam. You can check that out at youtube.com/ESPN Esports. Tim Lees has a whole preview article at ESPN.com/esports. And we will be on the ground at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Continued content and coverage. Keep it locked on Twitter as well at ESPN_Esports.